Hey there, everybody. Welcome to my channel, The Magical Solution. My name is Leilani. So we are live once again, 3 nights in a row. We are on a we are on a good streak. So we are here once again doing our book club. Now, normally on Sundays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I usually have an interview on my show. I either interview authors or elders or influencers within the spiritual community who, have stuff to teach us and show us. But this go around, you got me. You got me. And we're going to continue forward with my book club. Now, those of you who normally come to my show to watch an interview, if you did not know, I do have a book club. Right now, the times that we kind of get together are a little sporadic. And I'm supposed to be giving some good information at the end of the day today for a lot of people as to what the schedule is going to look like moving forward. So I'm really excited about that. But let's get back to it. So we are reading the Gospel according to Spiritism. All right. Now, Spiritism, Spiritualism, Espiritismo, all of these very much related practices, because they all come kind of from the same umbrellas. This book is basically taking quotes from the Bible, specifically quotes that Jesus said, and interpreting it through the eyes of Spiritism. Right now, mind you, this was written in the 1800s, right? This was written in Eurocentric world over there in France. And so the information's a little dated. The information can be a little cringe, but we take what we need and we leave the rest, right? So we are on chapter 19 right now. Those of you who are joining me for the very, very, very first time, do not feel intimidated. You can totally stay and listen. You will not be lost because I always give commentary throughout, the chapter. But if you want to stay up to date with the rest of us, go to my YouTube channel at The Magical Solution and watch the first book in the series, which is the Spirits book, the second book in the series, which is the Medium book, and then jump on to this book, which is the Gospel according to Spiritism. So let's do this. Chapter 19. The title is Faith Moves Mountains. And the subcategories here are the power of faith, religious faith, the condition of unshakable faith, parable of the withered fig tree, and then, of course, the Spirits teachings. And the Spirits are going to be teaching about faith, the mother of hope and charity, and divine faith and human faith. Okay? So it's a lot of faith talk. We're going to be really kind of breaking down this idea of faith according to Spiritism. Okay? So let's get to it. We are going to be quoting Matthew chapter 17, verse 14 to 20. When he came to meet the people, a man approached him, fell to his knees at his feet, and said to him, "Lord, have mercy on my son, who is insane and suffers much because he often falls into the fire and often into the water. I presented him to your disciples, but they could not heal him." Jesus answered, saying, "O disbelieving and perverse generation, how long will I be with you? How long must I endure you? Bring the child to me." Jesus is so over this. Like, he is just like, I am so done healing people. Okay. And when Jesus threatened the demon, it came out of the child, who was healed that same instant. Then the disciples came to Jesus in private and said to him, "Why could we not expel the demon?" And Jesus answered, "Because of your disbelief. For verily I say to you, if you had faith as a mustard seed, you would say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it would move, and nothing would be impossible for you." Woo. So how does Spiritism interpret this? Why is this piece important? So in its proper acceptation, It is certain that faith in our own abilities renders us capable of accomplishing physical things that we would not be able to do if we doubted ourselves. However, here it is only in the moral sense that these words should be understood. The mountains that faith moves are difficulties, resistance, and ill will. In other words, all the things found among humans, even in when it concerns the best things. Everyday prejudices, material interests, selfishness, the blindlessness and fanaticism and prideful passions are other mountains that bar the way to all who are working for humankind's progress. Robust faith provides the perseverance, the strength, and the resources that enable us to overcome the obstacles in little as well as in big matters. Faith that is faltering provides uncertainty and hesitation with strength, which strengthens those we wish to overcome. This kind of faith does not look for the means to win because it does not believe it can. In another acceptation, faith means the faith one has in accomplishing something, the certainty of achieving a particular purpose. It provides a kind of lucidity that enables one to see in thought the intended goal and the means to reach it in such a way that one who possesses it proceeds, in a manner of speaking, with absolute certainty. In either case, faith enables the accomplishment of great things. Sincere and true faith is always poised. It provides the patience that knows how to wait, because having its point of support in the mind and in the understanding of things, it carries the certainty of arriving at its objective. Hesitant faith, on the other hand, senses its own weakness. When it is stimulated by interest, it becomes incensed and thinks it can compensate with force. Calmness in the midst of struggle is always a sign of strength and confidence. Force, on the other hand, is proof of weakness and self doubt. One must guard against confusing faith with presumptuousness. True faith allies itself with humility. Those who have put their trust in God more than in themselves, because they know that they are simple instruments of God's will and can do nothing without God. And that is why good spirits come to their aid. Presumptuousness is pride rather than faith, and pride is always punished sooner or later by the disappointments and the failures inflicted upon it. The power of faith receives a direct and special application in magnetic action. Through faith, humans act upon the fluid, the universal agent, modifying its qualities and giving it an impulse that is irresistible, so to speak. Thus, those who combine a normally large fluidic power with an ardent faith can solely, by their will, directed toward the good, perform the remarkable phenomenon of healing and other phenomena formerly regarded as miracles, but which were nothing more than the consequences of natural law. And that is why Jesus told his apostles, if you could not heal it, it was because you did not have faith. Whew. So we get this. We get this, right? We understand this wholeheartedly. As a matter of fact, it's one of those sort of backbone ideas that we tend to talk about amongst each other in our community, right? Like we talk about faith all the time. We talk about the three charities, I mean, the three virtues all the time. But what makes faith remarkable is that it's the opposite of the snake biting its own tail. but it uses the same kind of movement, meaning, you know, good only attracts good, and the more good you do, the more good you feel, and it becomes like addicting. It's the same thing with faith. When you have faith, there is something that happens to you and the fluids within your body. Now, remember, we talked about this in the first book, the Spirits book, right? And the Spirits book talks all about the anatomy of the body, and it talks about the fluidic agents that go through our body, right? Now, faith does something very interesting to those fluids, and it's like a drug. It's like a drug. And so when you act in accordance with natural law, with your spirit rested and trusted and rooted in an unshakable faith, you will be unstoppable. And it becomes so addicting because you're able to just move through this world very confidently, very, very confidently. And it's a very difficult thing to attain. As a matter of fact, it's one of the biggest struggles that many espiritistas, many people deal with, is whether or not they can obtain unshakable faith, right? So this next section is entitled Religious Faith, the Condition of Unshakable Faith. So let's get to it. So, from the religious point of view, faith is the belief in a particular dogma that comprises the different religions. All religions have their articles of faith. From this aspect, faith may be either rational or blind. Blind faith examines nothing and accepts both false as well as true without verification, and clashes at every step with evidence and reason. Taken to the extreme, it produces fanaticism. Whenever faith rests upon error, it collapses sooner or later. Faith that is based on truth is the only kind assured of the future, because it has nothing to fear from the progress of enlightenment. Since whatever is true in obscurity is also true in full light. So every religion claims to be an exclusive possession of truth. However, to profess blind faith on a point of belief is to confess one's inability to demonstrate that one is right. Woo! He called some people out on that one. It is commonly stated that faith cannot be prescribed, from which many people declare that it is not their fault if they do not have faith. Of course, faith cannot be prescribed, and what is even more correct is that faith cannot be imposed. No, it cannot be prescribed, but it can be acquired, and no one will be refused to possess it, even amongst those who are most resistant. We are speaking about fundamental spiritual truths and not this or that particular belief. If it is not faith that should seek out these individuals, rather they should seek out faith. And if they sincerely search for it, they will find it. Hence, you can be certain that those who say, "We would like nothing better than to believe, but we cannot," say it only with their lips and not with their heart, because by saying it, they are plugging their ears. The proofs, meanwhile, multiply all around them. Why do they refuse to see them? On the part of some, it is indifference. For others, the fear of being forced to change their habits. And for the majority, their pride refuses to acknowledge a higher power because they would have to bow down to it. For some individuals, faith almost seems to be innate. A spark is enough to develop it. And such ease in assimilating spiritual truth is an obvious sign of previous progress. For others, on the other hand, spiritual truths are difficult to absorb, a no less evident sign of an unevolved nature. The former have already believed and understood upon being reborn. They bring with them the intuition of what they already know. They have accomplished their education. The latter must learn everything. They are yet to accomplish their education, and they will do so, if not in this lifetime, then in another. We must agree that the resistance of disbelievers often has less to do with them per se than the way in which things are presented to them. Right? So faith requires a foundation, and such foundation is the perfect understanding of that which is to be believed. In order to believe, it is not enough simply to see, it is essential above all to understand. Blind faith is no longer appropriate for this century. And it is precisely the dogma of blind faith that produces the greatest number of disbelievers nowadays, because it wishes to impose itself and requires the abdication of two of the most precious prerogatives of human beings, and that is reason and free will. It is mainly against this type of faith that disbelievers rebel, and about which it is true to say that faith cannot be prescribed. By not accepting proof, it leaves a void in the spirit that gives room to doubt. Rational faith, that which is based on facts and logic, leaves no darkness in its wake. One believes because one is sure, and no one can be sure unless they have understood. And that is why rational faith does not collapse, for unshakable faith is the kind that can stand face to face with reason in all human epochs. Spiritism leads to such a result, and it also triumphs over disbelief as long as it does not encounter systematic and self-serving opposition. So, it's pretty clear here what is being asked of you, right? It's being asked that, don't follow anything blindly. And that literally goes for anything. We're not just talking about religion here, because remember, Spiritism doesn't have to be a religion for anybody. It can be a philosophy, it can be a way of life, it could be whatever you need it to be. But if you truly follow the path as a religious practice, it comes to reason that you're expected to not just see these things, to not just talk about these things, to not just participate here and there in these things. It's about truly integrating and understanding these things so that when it's time to come face to face with whatever new sciences, new discoveries, new archaeology stuff, when it's time to really put your faith and put your reasons up against that, it will match. And that's what we're seeing today. That's what we're seeing today. When we talk about quantum physics, and when we talk about, the Planck scale and all that good stuff, it's not just some new age foo-foo stuff. It really isn't. Even in the first book that we read together, the Spirits book, that broke down the different spiritual realms, and it broke down the makeup of what these realms and what these multiverses consist of. And when you hear this written in the 1800s with the words that they had to use, it sounds very similar, if not exactly like quantum physics. So, we really need to sort of approach everything with curiosity, and not just curiosity, but with the desire to answer your own curiosity. Like, don't stop until that curiosity has been satisfied. Truthfully, right? So now we're going to read about the parable of the withered fig tree. And we can find this in Mark chapter 11, verses 12 to 14, and verses 20 to 23, if you're following along. When they left Bethany, he was hungry. And seeing a fig tree some way off, he went to see if he could find something on it. And having come to it, he only found leaves, because it was not the season for figs. Then Jesus said to the fig tree, "May no one eat any more fruit from you?" Which his disciples heard. And on the following day, as they passed by the fig tree, they saw that it had become withered down to its roots. And remembering Jesus' words, Peter said to him, "Master, look how the fig tree that you cursed has become withered." And Jesus answered him, saying, "Have faith in God. Verily, I say to you that whoever says to the mountain, 'Be uprooted and cast yourself into the sea,' without any doubt in his heart, but firmly believing that what he has said will happen, will see it actually happen." Okay? So the fig tree symbolizes persons who have only the appearance of goodness, but who in reality produce nothing that is worthwhile. Orators who are more flashy than substantial, whose words have the gloss of varnish. They please the ears, but upon close examination, nothing substantial for the soul is found in them. And after hearing them, one asks what benefit was derived from listening to them. It is also the symbol of all persons who have the means to be useful, but are not. All the utopias, all the empty theories, all the doctrines that lack a solid foundation. What is most often lacking is true faith, productive faith, the faith that stirs the fibers of the soul. In other words, the faith that moves mountains. They are trees. They have leaves, but no fruit. That is why Jesus condemns them to barrenness. For a day will come in which they will become withered down to their roots, which means that all the theories, all the doctrines that have not produced any good for humankind will fall into nothingness. That all deliberately useless people, for lack of having put it into practice, the resources they had in them, will be treated just like the withered fig tree. Mediums, so here we are, mediums, psychic mediums. Hold on a second. Okay, apparently, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm getting threats from TikTok. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so mediums who are the interpreters of spirits, supplying the physical organs that they lack to transmit their teachings to us. That is the reason mediums have been endowed with faculties to this effect. In these times of social renewal, they have a particular mission. They are the trees that must provide spiritual nourishment to their brothers and their sisters. They are multiplying in number in order for this nourishment to be abundant. They are found everywhere, in all countries, among all social classes, among rich and the poor, the great and the small, so that none are disinherited, and to prove to humankind that all are called. However, if they divert from its providential purpose the priceless faculty that was conceded to them, if they make it serve futile or harmful matters, if they put it in the service of worldly interests instead of healthy fruit, they bear unhealthy fruit. If they refuse to render it useful to others, if they derive from it no benefit for improving themselves, they are like the barren fig tree. God will take away a gift that has become useless in their hands, the seed they have not been able to bring to fruition, and God will let them become the prey of bad spirits. Now, again, this is the interpretation of that parable in the Bible, right? That was what Spiritism is saying that Jesus said, right? So what needs to be understood here is, in Spiritism, it's not that God punishes. Again, we're not talking about a vengeful spirit. We're not talking about good and evil. We're not talking about any of that stuff. We're talking about people who claim titles and then do nothing with their titles, people who were given gifts from Spirit and do nothing with those gifts or even do harm with those gifts, will, by consequence of their own actions, fall. They will fall because they do not serve the truth, they serve themselves. That's what they're saying here. They're saying your fruit will not bear because you ain't coming from a place that's holy, right? So now we get into the Spirit's teachings, right? So let's see, we're at the end of this chapter. Wow, this chapter went by really fast. So the first spirit that they're going to be interviewing is Joseph, and he is a protector spirit who was interviewed in 1862. And he speaks on faith, the mother of hope and charity. Okay, so let's see. So, in order to be profitable, faith must be active. Hear that again, please. Hear that again, please. Faith must be active. It must not grow numb. Mother of all the virtues that lead to God, it must watch carefully over the development of the children it generates. Hope and charity are a consequence of faith. These three virtues form an inseparable trinity. Is it not faith that provides the hope of seeing the Lord's promise fulfilled? Because if you do not have faith, what do you hope for? Is it not faith that provides love? Because if you do not have faith, what appreciation will you have, and consequently, what love? Faith, divine inspiration from God, awakens all the noble instincts that lead humans toward the good. It is the foundation of regeneration, and thus this foundation must be strong and durable. For if the least doubt shakes it, what will become of the edifice that is built upon it? Therefore, construct the building upon unshakable foundations. Let your faith be stronger than the sophisms and the ridicule of disbelievers. For faith that cannot stand up to human ridicule is not true faith. Please hear this, y'all, especially those of you who are on social media and who are putting your stuff out there, your very, very personal spiritual practices. You're putting it out there for the world to see. And people can be nasty. People can be real nasty. We all know how everybody loves to tussle up on these internet streets, right? So what you need to understand is having unshakable faith will give you so much strength that these haters and these obstacles that you were once facing will fall by the wayside. Fall by the wayside, literally, right? Sincere faith is alluring and contagious. It communicates itself to those who did not have it or even would not desire to have it. It finds persuasive words that go to the soul, whereas apparent faith uses only sonorous words that leaves their listeners cold and indifferent. Preach through the example of your faith in order to give it to others. Preach through the example of your deeds in order to enable others to see the merit of faith. Preach through your unshakable hope in order to enable others to see the trust that strengthens and encourages you to battle all the vicissitudes of life. Therefore, have faith in all that it contains of beauty and goodness, in its purity and in its reasoning. Do not accept faith that cannot be substantiated. The blind daughter of blindness. Love God, but know why you do. Believe in his promises, but know why you believe in them. Follow our counsels, but be aware of the objective we show you and the means we provide for you to reach it. Believe and hope without losing heart. Miracles are the deeds of faith. So this is interesting because when we talk, right, when Spiritism talks about faith in these kinds of words and describes spiritists, espiritistas, mediums, spiritualists, all this, right? He's kind of speaking about saints here. Let's really kind of put it into like a more material thought frame. He's talking about saints here. The potentiality of doing the acts of what we would consider saints today, right? So these are people who can perform miracles. These are living people who can perform feats of supernatural things like levitation, biolocation, exorcism, bringing things back from the dead, curing animals, right? These are all things that every single human, every single spirit has potential of. And by doing it through this lens, or by having faith and hope and participating in charity, these will become more accessible to you. But again, we're not doing it for that reason, right? We're not trying to get all superpowery. That's not the point, right? Okay, so we're on our next little spirit. And this spirit's name is, oh, it doesn't have one. So we are the protector spirit, and they were interviewed in 1863, and they want to talk about divine faith and human faith. Okay. So faith is the innate sentiment in human beings of their future destiny. It is the awareness they have of the immense faculties whose seed was deposited in them first in a latent state, and which they now must make blossom and grow by their active will. Whew. Let that marinate, okay? Active faith, active will, active charity, right? This is about movement, y'all. This is about doing things, right? We don't just have faith in our house by ourselves, right? I mean, we can, but active faith, right? So until now, faith has not been understood except from the religious aspect because, Christ extolled it as a power lever, and because he has been seen only as the head of a religion. But Christ, who performed material miracles, has demonstrated through these same miracles what humans can do when they have faith. That is, the will to want and the certainty that such will can receive fulfillment. By following this example, did not the apostles also perform miracles? Well, what were those miracles? Except natural effects whose cause was unknown to people back then, but which today have been largely explained and which will be fully understood by Spiritism and magnetism. Hear that again. Magnetism, right? So faith is either human or divine, depending on whether people apply their faculties to their earthly needs or to their heavenly and future aspirations. So here he's going to kind of break down, this spirit is going to break down a little bit of why Spiritism is different from Christianity, okay? So individuals of genius who pursue the accomplishment of some great enterprise triumph if they have faith, because they feel within them that they can and must reach it, and this certainly provides them with immense power. Good persons who believe in their heavenly future and who want to fill their lives with noble and beautiful actions in the certainty of the happiness that awaits them draw from their faith the strength that they need, and thereby accomplishing the miracles of charity, devotion, and selflessness. And finally, with faith, there are no bad tendencies that cannot be overcome. Magnetism is one of the greatest proofs of faith put into action. It is through faith that magnetism heals and produces the remarkable phenomenon that used to be regarded as miracles. I will repeat. Faith is human and divine. If all incarnates were fully persuaded of the power they have within them, and if they wanted to put their will in the service of that power, they would be capable of accomplishing what until today have been called prodigies, and which are actually nothing more than a development of human faculties. Woo, baby. Baby. All right, so that is the end of chapter 19. I was just kind of quickly looking through chapter 20 to see if we can squeeze it out within this hour, but it looks like that's not going to be the case. So now it is time. I'm opening up the floor for questions. If you have any questions regarding what we just read, regarding Spiritism in general, regarding Espiritismo, regarding literally anything, the Allan Kardec series that we've read so far, shoot, I am all ears. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Shoot, shoot, shoot. What do we got? Hey, girl. Oh, my God. It's good to see you again, Water Vixen. Oh, my God. I feel like I haven't spoke to you forever. You need to message me at some point so we can exchange phone numbers and chit chat. Because I need friends. I'm such a loser. Like, I need friends. Like, for real. Not real fire. Not real fire. Aw, because you're in your little corner of the world. Me too, girl. Me too. I'm in my own little corner of the world. I know you guys are doing all the powwows this summer. So I'm really excited for that. I'm going to be going to the one in, I think it's Bear Mountain in August. I'll be going to that one. Word. People are too much. How about you guys over here on Facebook and YouTube? You got any questions for me? I see you. I see you watching. We're doing a short one today. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, if you guys don't have any questions on this, I will let you all go. But I am going to keep TikTok on, I believe. So those of you who are in Facebook and YouTube, come on over to TikTok, Magical Solution. I'm going to stay on my live, probably do a few readings. I don't know. I just don't feel like getting off the computer just yet. Oh, that's so good. Oh, thank you, Rose. Of course. Of course. Now, I don't know if you guys are a part of my community, but I'm hoping to find a platform that everyone uses as opposed to just some people. Hi, Muno. Thank you. Thank you so much. Muno Midnight. Is that Appalachian? Is that who I think it is? Is that who I think it is? Because I'm going to be so psyched. But yeah, I'm trying to find a platform that everyone uses and not just some people. I noticed that, only older people use Facebook, and then young people just be running wherever they can run away whenever an old person comes onto their streamline. So I don't even know where they are today. So I'm trying to find a place where people can get together other than just telling you my website. If you go to my website, I offer, spiritual consultation, but I also offer, one-on-one mentoring. I offer a community to do spiritual development circles via Zoom. I offer, candle vigils. If you need, some extra healing, some extra loving, some extra money, whatever, you just let me know. and I'll add you to my monthly altar. And yeah, I know people are playing with Threads now. I know, I'm over there, but like I only have like 5 friends on Instagram, so like it really limits me on what I can and cannot do unless you have a certain amount of followers. No problem, YC. Thank you so much. But yeah, I gotta wait it out. I gotta post some more on Threads first to see if I can try and get some traction, because I think you need like, I don't even know what it was. I can't even remember. And then I just found this out too. On LinkedIn, you need to have at least 150 connections, and you need to post, I believe, 3 times a day or 2 times a day in order to use their live streaming feature. I was like, LinkedIn, who you think you is, LinkedIn? Like, you are not that girl. You know, like you're asking for too much. Too much. So, but you know I'm going to do it. You know I got to try and find 150 connections, because you know I'm going to do it. I'll figure it out. But anyway, all right, guys. Love, peace. Have a beautiful, beautiful Sunday night. And make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And most importantly, remember, this is how we grow. Have a good night.